everybody, Dr. Hill and Moog here at Advanced Animal Care Berea, and today we are going to talk about the importance of dog socialization and training.
Great. So, Dr. Hill, when should my dog start obedience training?
Right away, as soon as you get them. So even if that's a puppy when they're small, that's a great time to start training. Or if you adopted an older dog from a shelter or maybe from a family member or what have you, any age is the perfect age to start training.
Great. What are the most important basic commands my dog should know?
Yeah, so my big ones are going to be to sit, to stay, to come. Really the reason being for that is if for some odd reason you're in a situation and your dog's off leash and maybe there's a car nearby, having good control with those commands is going to be really safe so that hopefully your pet doesn't run out in front of the car. The last one is going to be to drop it because as a lot of us know, sometimes dogs eat things that they shouldn't, and if we can catch them in the act and they can appropriately drop something out of their mouth, it might be the difference between eating something that could kill them and them dropping it out and them living.
Great. So how can I socialize my puppy?
Yeah, so puppies are a little tricky when it comes to socialization from a veterinary perspective. Of course, we want your puppy to experience a lot of stuff because starting them out early with those experiences makes a really big difference for them later on in life. And whether that be experience to people riding bicycles or, going to a park or being exposed to water at a young age or things like that. The other half of that is making sure that we don't put your puppy at risk for contracting some fairly nasty diseases that could be fatal to them early on in life. And so what I would urge you to do is to get your pet lots of exposure, but to make sure that you're doing it safely. So I would avoid dog parks or maybe even places like PetSmart or Tractor Supply until they've finished their vaccine series so that they don't pick up things like parvo or distemper or other viruses that could be really, really harmful to them. But to definitely, if you've got friends who have dogs that are vaccinated and they're healthy, take them over to your friend's house and let them play, or take them to just a normal people park and let them see kids or people riding bikes or all kinds of fun stuff like that. So take them out there and let them live. Just try to do it safely.
Great. Should my dog be punished for bad behavior?
So, definitely verbally telling them no and letting them know that what they did is not okay verbally, I think is really important because they need to understand that. But I think what really helps too on the other, end of that is when they do something right, making a really big positive deal about that, being like, yay, you did that right. Here, have a treat, have some positive reinforcement. Yay, you pottied outside. I am so excited for you. Making it a big deal when they do something right is much more impactful on them than making a big deal when they do something wrong.
Great. So is my dog too old to be trained?
Never. My other dog is 10 years old, and this is my favorite story to share for this. They say you can always teach an old dog new tricks, and my husband and I were convinced that our older dog could never learn a new trick, and actually one of the employees that works here house sat for us for the weekend and taught her 3 new tricks through the weekend that my husband had been working on one of those for 2 years with her and could never get her to learn it. So old dogs can learn new tricks, and it's never too late to start working with your dog.
Wonderful. All right, so if I was going to do training classes, what vaccinations are needed for those classes?
Yeah, so I would recommend making sure that your pet is for sure up to date on rabies. That's going to be the most important. And then the other ones are going to be really the core vaccines for your area. So every area of the United States is going to have varying core vaccine recommendations. Here in Kentucky and here in Berea, what I would really recommend is making sure that they're up to date on their distemper parvo with or without lepto, making sure that they're up to date on Bordetella, and then, or the kennel cough vaccine. And then lastly, if they're going to be around a lot of other dogs, maybe if you're going to some larger cities like Lexington, Nashville, things like that, making sure that they're up to date on their canine influenza vaccine as well.
Great. So my last question is, what is environmental enrichment that can help with my dog's behavior?
Yeah, so that's something indoors, as making sure that they have plenty of toys to entertain themselves with. If you're crating them, making sure that their crate is in a safe area. And maybe you have a special toy that's just for the crate, or maybe you put some peanut butter and bananas in a Kong and you freeze it and they get that when they go in their crate for enrichment. Or maybe it's playing the TV while you're gone. And then things outside, making sure that they have a safe space outside with plenty of toys, that there's not any junk or garbage that they could get into to hurt themselves or anything like that in their outdoor space. And if they are having an outdoor space where they're spending a significant amount of time, making sure that there's access to plenty of clean fresh water, making sure that if it's in the summer they have a cool shady place to get out of the heat, or if it's in the winter that they have a warm sheltered place to get into to get out of the cold.
All right. Thank you.
You're so welcome.